we left off, we had gotten our insulation and our subfloor down and everything sealed for the floor. Since then, all we really did was some wheel well boxes. We just had a little bit of extra wood that I really didn't want to scrap, of course. Made these boxes, keep everything just a little bit more square for when we put the actual laminate flooring down, when we do some framing. But covers up that ugly yellowness of the wheel well. So we have those down, and currently they're making really good benches. I'm just gonna put a hinge over here, and then at least we'll still have that extra space underneath. And I also gained a new tool, my friend Craig, the Craig jig, to do these pocket holes at the bottom here, which we're gonna need to do a lot of, especially for when it comes time to put the cabinets in and just anything else to bolt to the framing. So other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot. We did our big trip last week through all of Vancouver Island, so make sure you check out those videos. Literally all we did was put the bed from the SUV and it fit perfectly in between these wheel wells. I mean, nothing's done in here. We were just super happy to have all this extra space to move around. If you've traveled in small spaces before in a car, even something as simple as just being able to stand up to put your pants on in the morning is a huge win. So yeah, we're super happy already, and there's pretty much nothing even done yet. So looking at the bright side, even though we've hit a couple roadblocks so far today, but all in all, things are on the up, so we're just gonna keep on trucking.
All right, so Kyle met somebody who had some extra flooring, and she said, you know, if you guys want to use it, go ahead. And we're like, awesome, free flooring, perfect. So we're sitting in here trying to figure out whether or not we really love this flooring and if we're really going to use it. It's quite warped, so we're having a hard time clipping it in and having it lay flat, and we're just kind of losing a little bit of patience and just thinking, like, is this really worth it? Do we really want to use this flooring? I think we've come to the decision that we're not actually going to use it because it's just not going to work out. We've tried a few pieces quite a few times and it's just not clipping in properly. But now that we're not doing it, we're kind of looking around thinking, okay, what can we do next? And so we're going to finish up with some insulation along the braces and then eventually get some framing up. And then we're going to go back to Home Depot again and take a look at the flooring and see if there's another option that we can go with that isn't going to cost us a fortune.
It reminds you of Grandma and Grandpa's house, to be completely honest. That's what we think of when we see this wood. We're currently having a beer and snacking already, hitting the drawing board. We're going to go back to our original plan and go in order of how things are supposed to go in succession here.
So we had a really nice lady named Wendy help us here at Home Depot, and we decided to take a look at this color here, and we almost went with it, and then we just went a little further down the aisle and saw this nice gray laminate, so that's what we're gonna go with. We are getting a few boxes. We're gonna go with 4.
Yeah,
we're getting 4 boxes for now, and then we're just gonna go get some insulation and then head home.
Got the goods.
So usually when we go to Home Depot or get anything for the van or even the SUV before, we'd have those vehicles. But this time we have my car and I have a 2-door Golf. So didn't really take that into account when we were getting these things today. So we were just making it work. It's, again, another game of Tetris. So yeah, and we have diesel too. So like, this is what's happening here.
First order of business today, get our insulation in all the braces. We have a huge pack of rock wool. I know some of you watching are probably gonna judge right away because it's not the first choice to use this stuff. It's a little better than fiberglass from what I understand. But I mean, any van video you watch, they're using either 3M Thinsulate, which is a little more eco-friendly, that or either Havelock wool. However, in Canada, it seems to be a little more inaccessible and really expensive, which is definitely a factor. So this stuff, water resistant, it's still got a really good R value. If we were doing the walls, the windows, and insulating a bigger portion of the van, I would strongly consider getting something like the Havelock wool or the Thinsulate. However, all we're really getting into is the spots where spray foam, we would have to go through several cans to really access these. So these little braces here around the bracing, the frame of the van, and mostly just the back doors and the sliding door. So they're still really loud while you're driving, even with the sound deadening material. That's all we're really insulating. And then once those are in, they'll still be exposed. So we're going to put a thin layer of Reflectix over top of that, and then our paneling over top of those doors. So that's the plan, at least. That's what we're going to stick with. So we'll get this insulation in, and then we will put our new floors in, which we're really excited about. We made a trip to Home Depot last night after spending several hours trying to justify putting that warped dark brown wood on the floor. It was free, but at the end of the day, it was something that would have bugged us in the end. So insulation, floors, let's get it done. So the idea is to pack these doors full of insulation, but not jam pack it. If it's too tight, it's not going to be as effective at insulating. Whereas if it's more lofted up, it will give us a little more insulation. So the only thing we are worrying about here is we don't want to jam pack the insulation into the locking mechanism here or the one in the other door there. So we'll probably just do a little layer of duct tape just to kind of keep the dust and stuff out of there. We're gonna have a lot left over, but you don't really realize how much space is in these doors. First big heat wave of the year. It's going up to around 30 degrees today. And that humidity is coming out. We finished the insulation for the braces and the doors, and we are just going to get all our framing pieces cut, get them sealed, just because they will be exposed to the sheet metal just a little bit, so it's better to just seal them up. Save us problems in the future with rot and mold and all that stuff you don't want. We are finishing up the wheel well boxes. Insulation is done. We are going to get our framing pieces cut, and then we can start working on this floor. And I think once this floor gets done, it's really going to make things start to tie together. So we're looking forward to that.
It's funny because we keep saying we're going to do the floor, and then we sit and think, and we're like, oh, let's go do this instead, or we should probably do this first before the floor. So like, we are going to get to it. It's just, we got to get these things done first.
Yeah.
So today is kind of a sad day because we're taking apart our bed from our SUV. We're going to be mindful of the resources we have, so we're going to take it apart and use the wood from the bed to build some bed frame and some other framing in the van. So lumber is expensive, so we're going to use as much of the bed as we can. I might cry. Too emotional. It's bittersweet because the last time Diesel and I were in here, we were getting the van ready for our trip, and before we put the bed in and everything, we were in here vacuuming.
Who knew you could get so attached to a freaking bed? But so we had a lot of good adventures in this little ride here with this setup that we had, and all the pieces are getting used into our new adventure mobile, so it'll still be with us. Well, that just verifies that when you think something is going to go quickly, it never really does. We started doing the framing for the bed at the back. We have a bunch of strips cut for the rest of the framing, but we're not going to put that up because we have a camping trip for next weekend, so we want to make sure we have a bed, and our floor will have to go in before that bed goes in. So getting the pieces cut and bolted securely to the frame of the van is our main priority right now. We used the pieces of plywood that were our old bed in the SUV. They went to good use, and they're going to be the framing structure for the new bed.
It's still going to support us.
It's still going to support us, hopefully. This is the general idea. I changed my mind. Welcome to Kyle's brain. What we have here, Craig screws down into the actual subfloor, and then I have these on a hinge, so that's not just wasted space. We got the jack, probably put a few more tools and just random stuff that we won't hopefully need that often. The top piece right there, what we are planning on doing is I'm going to put a 2x4 from there to the brace on that side, right on the edge, and then we're going to put one of these little braces right there. We're going to have a third one right there, and then the fourth edge of the bed, probably won't use one of these, we'll just put it right on the actual edge, keep it flush. In total it's about 5 feet long. I know it probably doesn't look like it, but this is actually a really long window. Right there is going to be our bench with a little swivel desk, and then all along there is all counter space and storage underneath. And just to prove the whole Chevy Express not being square, different measurements for every little thing, I have, you probably can't see it, but I have it written out. So from here to that side is 65 inches. Right here is 65 3/4. This brace is 66.5, and then this edge one is 67.5. So from this little piece, this little gap from there to there is a whole extra inch from that side to that side. So kind of frustrating, but yeah, for some reason they just made everything go on a different angle. Feeling pretty stoked with this idea. I originally was just going to do the plywood from the other bed. We had cut pieces and everything, and then there was just it was a little too short, so there was a gap from the end of the van to the actual bed, and it just would have had to be a mix match of pieces, and I'd rather just one big solid brace across one side. And of course this is eventually going to get bolted into the actual braces of the van. So behind here, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little gap between the wood and the actual brace, so we're gonna have to put a little filler piece in there, but I mean this overall is going to be really sturdy. And we have some other wood right next to the brace, and we sealed this piece because it's right against the sheet metal, so just with condensation and stuff, want to make sure it's nice and sealed up. It's not going to get rotted at any point, so pretty stoked on this, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. We've got the main beam over there at the back, and then we have our brackets bolted in there. Gonna have one right there, third right there, and at the very end we'll have one more over there. All right, and we have a bed frame, but I have to do the floors first. We started this last night, and then I really buggered up a piece over there in the corner, so decided to call it quits so I didn't make any more stupid mistakes like that. So we will continue staggering these boards here, and then once the floor is down I will bolt the frame in. literally missing one piece. One more piece. Because that trim over there, I should have enough to fill that in, but regardless, that's all going to be sink. This is going to be a bench, but I still have enough pieces to fit there. But what I don't have is one more half, not even half, a quarter of a square to fit right there. Now the fun part. I get to tear up the floor that I just put down, and we have to put the Sikaflex. Well, that's what I'm using. I'm using Sikaflex construction adhesive, so this stuff should cement right to the subfloor, no problem. All right. All right. Doesn't it look awesome?
Oh yeah, makes all the difference. Cool.
Lie on it. Alright, we have a floor. I almost don't even want to step in here because the floor looks so nice.
It's starting to come together. So exciting. It's actually kind of cool because you can see the layers of all the work from the ground up. So that's kind of cool.
These fit rather snug. It works.
Helping? Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. I think he's more excited for his new bed because we had to take apart the SUV bed. So he has no bed right now. So we really need to get this up and running because we'd like to go camping this weekend. So we need a bed.
Thank you. There we go. How excited are you right now?
This is so crazy.
Well, folks, we have a bed and we have a floor. We're one step closer to the finished build, but we're happy with the progress we made so far. There's gonna be a ton of storage room underneath the bed, and we are loving this floor. We are super glad we decided to strive away from the ugly brown wood. Even though it was free, I feel like we still made the right choice. I think we're going to wrap up this episode here.
Thanks so much for following along. If you guys want to subscribe, like, leave a comment, we would be very grateful for that. And we're looking forward to the next episode of our van build.
Lots of exciting things to come. So thank you again, guys.